So thank you so much, Brittany, for being here today. I know we're all very excited to mix along with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. So today we are going to be doing two fairly simple cocktails that you can make at your house with not that many ingredients. Starting off is my favorite, so a Moscow Mule. If you do not have one of these mugs, these copper mugs, invest in one because they will change your Moscow Mule game. You could certainly make it in a regular glass, but this just adds something to it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it just makes it super cold, but it's the best. So definitely grab one of these. A standard Moscow Mule, again, is super easy. So only 3 ingredients. Let me see if I can move this down a bit so you guys can see what I'm mixing here. So first you want to start off with about 1.5 ounces of vodka. I know we're all in here because we went to college at UofSC, but you don't have to drink like you're in college anymore, so please get a decent vodka. Tito's is my favorite because it's pretty middle of the road. One thing that you can invest in is, this is called a jigger. Weird name, but it's a great tool to help you measure out your cocktails. They have them at Walmart, Target, wherever, and fairly cheap. So it's always going to be the large side you'll use for like your basic liquor that's going in. And then the small side, which is 1 ounce, will be like any citrus or simple syrup or any other ingredient going in your cocktail. So first we're going to do our vodka. So you'll do about 1.5 ounces, so almost 2 here. Throw that in your mug. And then next we will come with our lime. And so if you don't have one of these either, this is a great tool. So just a little hand juicer here. You can certainly get something more commercial, but this usually does fine. One trick, if you don't want to measure out lime, you can usually get about 1 ounce of lime juice out of 1 lime. So that's what we're going to put in here. Let's go ahead and juice that. And what is key with Moscow Mules is the ice. So it is made to be super cold. So you want to make sure you throw a ton of ice in your mug or in your cup, whatever you're making it in. Go ahead and get some ice and fill it all the way up to the top. I apologize if this is too loud on the video. And then the third and final ingredient in a Moscow Mule, which is what I love, it makes it so simple, is a ginger beer. So what I like to use, Gosling's is classic. It's fairly middle of the road in terms of cost, but it tastes great. Fever Tree is another great brand, which I love. So we'll carry either one of those when we do weddings or events. So I have Gosling's today. And just go ahead and top it off. Don't need too much because sometimes it can be a little spicy. And then stir it around. And there you go. That is a classic Moscow Mule. Again, super easy, very refreshing for the summer. Cheers. But what I love about Moscow Mules is that they are so versatile. So we do a lot of Moscow Mules for our weddings and events, and we often change them around and do different flavors. And so what I wanted to do as well is to show you a blackberry mule, which is a fan favorite for our clients because it's really pretty with the blackberry color. And I'll make that in one of these clear glasses so you can get a sense of what it looks like and how easy it is. So when you're adding flavors to Moscow Mules, what I like to do is to make a little simple syrup. Simple syrup is, like it sounds, very simple. You're literally just taking sugar and just reducing it down to a liquid so you can easily mix it in to your cocktail. And so what you'll do is you'll take equal parts sugar and water and heat it, and then reduce it down and make sure everything, the sugar gets all mixed in well. And then you'll add your favorite fruit. So you can add in, berries. Like I said, I have blackberry here I'm getting ready to make. You can add herbs. So we do a rosemary syrup a lot, a mint syrup. and just reduce it down, boil it. You'll start to see a color change and let it sit, and there you go. You have your syrup. It lasts for a couple weeks, and it's great to add to any cocktails. So we'll go ahead and make a Moscow Mule with the blackberry syrup. So again, we're going to do our vodka. We have 1.5 ounces. And then we'll get our lime, which is a big part of a Moscow Mule, gives it that great flavor. So I'm going to do about 1 lime, which is usually around 1 ounce of lime juice. Put that in there. And then I have here blackberry simple syrup that I made. So again, you'll want to do just 1 ounce of any syrup. But the great thing about making your cocktails at your house is if you want it sweeter, you can make it sweeter. So feel free to add more. And then our ice. And the ice in there, and then top with the ginger beer. Mix it all around. Want to get fancy, you can add in a blackberry as a little garnish. Forgot this on the first one, but a little mint is always good for a Moscow Mule. And there you go. And that's a pretty drink right there. It tastes amazing and very easy. You'll definitely impress your friends with a pretty pink summer drink when it only has like 4 ingredients in it. So that is one of my favorites for sure. All right, and it's Cinco de Mayo, so let's get to what everyone's here for, which is the margarita. So we often do a strawberry basil margarita at a lot of our events, which we use like a strawberry and basil simple syrup, and it's, again, one of the fan favorites. But today I wanted to do something a little bit more simple, so you don't have to make some fancy simple syrup or anything, literally just muddling some strawberries, and it's awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. So margaritas are fairly easy as well. First, obviously tequila. This brand, Camarena, is an awesome brand. Middle of the road in terms of cost, but great tasting tequila. So definitely suggest trying that. And then you will also need an orange liqueur. So this brand is fairly cheap as well, but great taste. And so it adds a ton of flavor to your margarita. You definitely need that. And then we have our simple syrup. So again, as I mentioned earlier with the Moscow Mule, simple syrup is super simple to make. So equal parts sugar and water, overheat until the sugar dissolves, and there you have it. It lasts for a few weeks. You can mix it into your coffee, into your cocktails. It's great. So very easy to make. So let's go ahead and get started on our margarita. So first, whether you like, salt or sugar rim, that's where you'll get started on with this drink. And so you take your lime, go ahead and cut a lime, and then you're gonna just put it around the rim, the lime juice. And I've decided to do sugar here with mine, just because it's a little bit sweeter drink, so I like the sugar on it. So go ahead and put it all around your cup, like that. And then we will go ahead and add our strawberries. So what I do with this drink is I do about 1.5 to 2 cut strawberries. Moving you guys around so much, here we go. So go ahead and put them in your glass. And then you add in your tequila. So again, about a 1.5 ounce pour. There. And then if you don't have a muddler, you can certainly get just any sort of spoon or just something that you want to be able to press the strawberries down. And so just like this, just to get some of the juices. We didn't get that better. There you go. And you'll see the color starts to change and all that strawberry juice starts to get out. Again, lime is crucial in a margarita. So we're going to do 1 whole lime in this, which again is about 1 ounce lime juice. and then we will add in our orange liqueur. So when you're making cocktails, I think I mentioned this earlier, but your base liquor is always going to be about 1.5 to 2 ounces pour, and you'll do for your secondary liquor about 1 ounce of liquor. So there we go with the orange liqueur. And then your simple syrup, about 1 ounce in that as well. And we add in our ice. Stir it around there, mixed up. What I like about this is you can make a simple syrup for this drink. We do that a lot. But something about having the strawberry pieces in this drink just makes it so fun. It gives it a cool look. And then you get to eat strawberries at the end that have been sitting in tequila. So that's never a problem. And you garnish with a little strawberry sprig, and there you go. And that is your strawberry margarita. Super simple, only a few ingredients, just like the Moscow Mule, but a pretty pink drink and great for the summer. All right, that's all I have for today. I know I just rushed through those, so happy to answer any questions. Let me take a look here at the chat. Let's see. So we have a question here about what's the difference between a clear or dark tequila? That's a great question. There are some cocktails that require a dark tequila. I always think with a margarita, you want to go something light. You know, I'm not sure who made that rule up, but it's just kind of what we do. If you're going to do a dark tequila, I'd always probably do a light tequila as well, which sounds kind of crazy to have 2 different ones in it, but definitely with margaritas, you know, like I said, this Camarena is awesome. This is a great tequila, great bang for your buck, and tastes really well. What's my favorite infused simple syrup? So I really love a rosemary syrup. We have a cocktail that we serve at a lot of our weddings and events that is a rosemary greyhound. So it has vodka and grapefruit juice in a rosemary syrup that we make in it, and it is awesome. I love it. It gives cocktails and coffee just a great sort of herbal taste. I also like lavender, which sometimes sounds weird, but we have done a drink, a lavender Collins, which is a play on a Tom Collins with gin and lemon and club soda, and infuse a little lavender simple syrup, and it is amazing. It's a fruity kind of floral taste. It's very light. It's great for the spring. So that's one of my favorites as well. Let's see here. Got a couple more questions coming in. Yeah, so there is a, someone asked about doing a variation of a mule with tequila. Yes, so there's several different mule variations. So you have your mezcal mule, which is with tequila or mezcal, and then you also have a Kentucky mule where you add in bourbon. And so it's the same 3 ingredients, you're just changing your spirit. So if it's the Kentucky mule, you're gonna do the bourbon, ginger beer, and lime. They are all good. I love all of them. So definitely give those a try. All right, someone's asking about tapping the mint. Okay, so when you're adding like mint or any sort of herb to a cocktail, you want to sort of get the flavors out. I know this is kind of weird, but you kind of just tap it a little bit, and that just lets all of those flavored juices, I don't know what you call it, out, and really adds to the drink. So you always just kind of want to do this. I guess it's similar to like when you're making a mint julep and you are going to muddle the mint a little bit to get all of the oils out. That's kind of what you're doing when you're putting a garnish on. So just give it a little tap and let that out, and then put it in your drink. What's the most popular cocktail at your events? Honestly, Moscow Mules are always a fan favorite. We do a lot of variations of those. The blackberry's great. We've done strawberry and orange in the past because they're a light drink. A lot of times at weddings, you have a lot of people there that want to try the signature drink, but if it's something maybe they don't drink like a bourbon drink, they might be a little hesitant to get it. But with a Moscow Mule, it tends to be, one that goes over well with a lot of different types of people and a lot of different crowds. And so we love doing Moscow Mules and different variations of those. Okay, so here's a question. How much and when should you add fruit and herbs to your simple syrup concoction? So when I'm making a simple syrup, I like to let the sugar sort of dissolve first. And so essentially make a just basic simple syrup. And then you want to add in your herbs or fruit and let it boil down, but not burn. It's a very like weird middle ground you have to be in. And you'll have to just play around with it. A good rule of thumb is kind of to keep equal. So if you're doing equal parts sugar and water, then you'll do, like if you're doing a cup of sugar and a cup of water, then maybe do a cup of blackberries if you're going to make a simple syrup that way. But you have to figure out what you like. So it may come back. I've definitely made syrups before, with an herb and come back and been like, I don't really taste it at all. Recently we had a client who was interested in a drink that had a rosemary and pear syrup. So pear is kind of a weird fruit to make a syrup out of and to really get that pear taste. And so we had to play around with that a lot to figure out the right variations and the right measurements and how much to add. So you just kind of have to figure out, what works for you and what tastes best and just experiment a bit. All right, curious about my business model. Okay, yeah, so that's a great question. So we are a mobile bar. We do events around Columbia, around the state, in fact, and we do coffee and cocktails and traditional bar service. Well, obviously right now we aren't doing any weddings or events. We've had a lot of our weddings pushed to 2021 or some just completely canceled. And so like a lot of small businesses, this is a pretty tough time for us. However, we've tried to figure out ways that we can still generate some sales and income during this time. So you may notice that there's some brick behind me. That's because I'm in our vintage camper bar. And I'm going to pick you guys up here and take you and show you, parked at my house. And so since we do espresso, we have one of our espresso machines set up back here with our grinder. And I have been doing coffee deliveries downtown Columbia right now. So that has been a good way to sort of generate some sales and to get our name out there even more, because a lot of people are at home and don't want to go out. So we've been bringing coffee to people's door, which has been, pretty awesome. But yeah, just trying to make it work until we can get back to normal. Yeah, and events. Yeah, I wish I could bring cocktails to the door too. That would be awesome. But yeah, events are slowly starting to be scheduled. I mean, we're still booking weddings and events for the fall, and for 2021, obviously, but we still have one of our clients who's going to have an event in June. We're just going to be taking extra precautions and really limiting the size of the wedding and how many people can be there. But it's definitely hit our industry hard. I was just talking to some of the other moderators earlier that you think you get in the wedding business and there's always going to be weddings. Like people are always going to get married and you're like, this is a great business to be in. And then you have something like this happen and no one thought that this would ever occur. And so it's been great to see how people are kind of figuring things out and making it work during this time. So that's awesome. Thanks for those questions. Make sure I didn't miss anything else. All right, so the way I came up with 72 Company is I was working in an office. I had just finished my master's at Carolina and I ended up losing my mom to cancer. And so obviously when something like that traumatic happens, you rethink your whole life. And so I just decided I wasn't happy in my current situation and wanted to do something that I loved. Something that I love is coffee. It's the best part of my day. I'm sure like many of you, you love having that cup of coffee in the morning or 3 like me. And so I decided to just focus my business on coffee and bringing coffee to people. We didn't have any mobile coffee shops at the time in Columbia. And so I ran with an idea. I had never worked in a coffee shop before. I'd never even owned an espresso machine. I had no idea what I was doing. And I failed a lot. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. And the more I got into the business, I found that I really loved doing events and private events. And then it was sort of a natural progression from creating craft coffee drinks at events to creating craft cocktails. And so I just immersed myself in studying cocktails and, you know, talking with experts and figuring out. And I've just, I love it. I love this business, and it's just, it's an awesome thing. Let's see here. What businesses am I most excited about visiting when everything reopens? I am a Silver Spoon fanatic. I love bakeries, so I cannot wait to go to Silver Spoon. Obviously, all the coffee shops. Inda is our roaster, so I spent a lot of time in Inda. Let's see, what else? You know, trying to think of some other ones. Breweries. Oh my gosh, I miss just sitting at a brewery with, you know, my friends and having a beer. And so Columbia Craft, I love. River Rat, I cannot wait to get out to some of those breweries and just be out with people and socialize for sure. What are the basics every home bar should have? That is an awesome question. I would say pure, just basics. And I wish I had it with me. I didn't bring them. So mixing glasses, like you see people who are making a cocktail and they're shaking it. I didn't bring those today because I figured, you know, we're just making at home and not everybody has those, but those are definitely essential, I would say, because most cocktails you're going to want to shake. Some will mix, but you know, I would definitely invest in those. And like all of these things, you don't have to go get some crazy commercial grade bar equipment. Like you can find this stuff at Target and it's perfect. You may have seen me use this when I was making the cocktails. This is called a jigger. And I hate the name, but it is what it is. So you have your 1 ounce here and then your 1.5 ounce on the other side, or 2 ounce, sorry. So this is great to measure out your cocktails. Obviously you can just freehand pour if you want, but this is an awesome tool to have. I would suggest some sort of juicer because a lot of cocktails are going to have a citrus in them. This is just a handheld one I use at my house. Fairly easy to use. Obviously you can upgrade if you want to. A good bar spoon. So both of the cocktails I made today, I mixed instead of shaking. So you can definitely get a lot done with just a good bar spoon. And then a muddler. You know, like today when I made the strawberry margarita, I muddled the strawberries. This is an awesome tool to have. This is the one I just keep in my house. I feel like it was like $5 maybe. So again, you don't have to spend a lot of money to make good drinks. But those are a couple basics I think that everyone should probably have. Oh yeah, Columbia Craft is my favorite. Oh, bourbon. I love bourbon. So you like looking for a bourbon drink, something to make? Because my favorite bourbon drink is, this is one that we sort of took from Motor Supply, because one of our clients who had a wedding a couple years ago, one of her best friends is like a cousin of somebody that works at Motor Supply Company here in Columbia, and they really wanted to do that drink. And so they asked if we could make it for them, and they were totally fine with it. So it is bourbon, Saint Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur. It's awesome. It goes great. I saw somebody today who said that Saint Germain is the bartender's ketchup, which I agree. It just like elevates any drink you have. So you'll put bourbon, Saint Germain, lemon, and a brown sugar simple syrup. And then you'll add in a cucumber ribbon, which it sounds super fancy, but it's very easy to make. mix it all together, and it is such a good bourbon drink. It's so refreshing. It's awesome. We do a lot of those for our weddings, and people love those. So that's a good one for sure. Coolest signature cocktail. Yeah, so we did an event with, it was Hotel Trundle, Southern Way Catering here in Columbia, and Allie and Eloise Bake Shop. And so we did this like event launching Southern Way's new menu. And myself and Alika, who owns Allie and Eloise Bake Shop, came up with a signature cocktail together. And it was the Lavender Collins that I mentioned earlier. But she put and I'm going to find a picture so I can show you guys, a macaron on the top of it. And it was amazing. And it was such a crowd pleaser. It looks really cool. So that, I think, is my favorite drink, just because of its presentation. Let's see if we can see this. I don't know. You guys see that there? So it was a purple drink, which we were hosting at Hotel Trundle, which they're all purple and everything. So that's why we did that drink. We used a butterfly pea tea or something like that. I think that's correct, but it's an extract. So it was all natural to make the color. But yeah, and the macaron on top, it was perfect. So that was super cool. And then my favorite coffee, the best coffee we've ever made. We do this graham cracker latte, which right now it's hot, but it's great for the fall. And I love that one. So I'm a big fan of like cinnamon. And so I like that a lot. It has brown sugar, cinnamon, all the good stuff mixed in. So that one's fun. So what type of spirits would I recommend for your coffee? Oh, your friend's coffee. That's funny. So I love like a good Bailey's in a coffee. That's the way to go. My mother-in-law, actually, I probably shouldn't mention this, but I will, whatever. She has this, it's like is it brown sugar? It's like a brown sugar moonshine or something like that. And she'll put that in her coffee every now and then. And that's a good one too. But yeah, definitely Bailey's, Kahlua, anything like that. Always good for coffee. Cool. I cannot wait to come back to some events. Definitely. Definitely missing events for sure. What's my favorite garnish to use? I am a big fan of rosemary. I may have mentioned that a couple times here because it's my favorite. It's so pretty. Like you can just take a simple, glass of champagne and throw a rosemary sprig in it and you look like super fancy. So I love that. I love a rosemary syrup, but I also just love to garnish with rosemary. Mint is good as well. And I also like basil. Those are all fun. You definitely want to play around with garnishes a bit because you want them to look pretty, but you'll notice when you drink something that has a garnish on it, you can kind of smell it. And it changes the whole flavor of the drink. So you don't want to put anything on there that doesn't work, too well. We also do a lot of edible flowers as garnishes, which are super pretty and they just elevate a drink. We've done Moscow mules before with edible flowers on top. So I definitely like that too. So if you want to order coffee delivery, so right now we're offering coffee delivery downtown Columbia area. So Forest Acres, Shandon, Rosewood, those sort of areas, anywhere within a 10-mile radius of downtown. And you can reach out to us through Instagram or Facebook, or feel free to text me an order. And we are doing, full espresso, iced or hot drinks, and we'll bring it right to your door. So yeah, our mobile bar does have to be reserved in advance. So we have a couple different bars. We have the camper bar, which I'm in right now. But we've had other bars out at the Alumni Center before. We can do espresso or bar service indoors. But we have a pretty exciting thing that happened before we, were shut down for the virus and everything. We have a permanent location during the week. So we're set up with our camper bar at 1603 Bull Street, which is at the corner of Bull and Taylor in downtown Columbia. And so we're doing coffee out there Monday through Friday. Typically, right now we're kind of shut down, trying to wait until, we can safely open again. But I'm thinking in June. But until then, we're doing our coffee deliveries. So if you're in the downtown Columbia area or anywhere around, feel free to reach out, and love to bring you guys some coffee. Well, someone asked if we could deliver to DC. That's one of my clients, Sarah. Hey, Sarah. I sure wish we could. We can't wait for your wedding, though. Any other questions, guys?
All right, Brittany, can you tell people where they can find you on Instagram or online, whatever is best, so they can see your mobile delivery?
Of course, yeah. So if you want to find us on Instagram, our handle is 7272 company. So if you'll reach out there, or I can give you my cell phone numbers as well. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. Feel free to send me messages through there. I have a ton of customers that just text me in the morning when they need coffee, and I bring it to them. We got to make things work in these weird times, so we're just going with it. But yeah, feel free to text me. And on Facebook, it's 72 Company SC. And so just all of our website and everything's on there. So we'd love to hear from you guys, and hopefully can hang out at some events soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brittany, for your time. I know that everyone loved mixing some cocktails with you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Definitely go check out her website if you're in the Columbia area. Yourself a coffee, and then maybe, once we all get back to events, we can definitely have you back at the Alumni Association.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you guys so much. I had fun. Feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.